What's up, Boise State fans? Greetings. BJ Rains here, Bronco Nation News. And that's John Mallory, KTIK, The Ticket, 95.3 FM, 1350 AM. And Johnny, we announced it on Friday, but really excited, man. A new deal, and we're going to get to share the social media channels, share the airwaves, share the websites here. And for you and I, it's going to be every Monday at this time, 9 o'clock, man. Looking forward to it.
I'm fired up. It's going to get my week off to the start it needs to get off to, BJ, especially if I can watch all these videos of doggies catching frisbees. Perfect, man. I love it.
We got you in the studio before 9 a.m., which means you were up probably before 8 a.m., so we already made history on this show, man.
That's rare for me on a Monday to wake up. Even my girlfriend was like, "What the heck are you doing up right now?" I was like, "Well, I got that BJ Rains thing, so I got to go." So, yeah, I'm ready. I'm fired up. I've always been, more of an afternoon guy. I felt my personality fit afternoon. No one wants to hear my type of energy and enthusiasm at 6 in the morning. I get it. So, not quite 6 in the morning. What is it? 9 Mountain Time? I don't even know what time it is. I'm fired up. Let's get the week off to the right start and talk some whatever you want to talk about, bud. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, this is going to be a Boise State themed show. We might dabble into some other current topics, but mostly going to be Boise State athletics. We'll do this every Monday moving forward. We'll even try to keep this going in the summer with some off-season topics. But every Monday at 9 a.m., you can get Johnny and myself here to kind of recap the weekend, recap whatever's going on, the big news in Boise State athletics. And as we announced last Friday, Bronco Nation News, KTIK have entered into an agreement for a partnership. So Johnny will be on with me on Mondays. You'll have Mike Prater on Thursdays. So part of the fun with this, Johnny, is going to be the interaction with the fans and the listeners. So get your comments in, get your questions in, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube, and it doesn't matter if you're on the KTIK Facebook, the KTIK Twitter, the Bronco Nation News Twitter, all that stuff can feed in now. And if you're watching this, you're watching it live on both channels. So, Johnny, I think this new wave of technology is going to be kind of cool here to kind of not only if people thought listening to our voices was bad enough, now they can see our faces.
Yeah, and my stupid T-shirts, man. That's going to be a big thing for us here in the studio. It's definitely taking Idaho Sports Talk somewhere it hasn't been anymore before, where you're going to have cameras, a bunch of them in the studio, and I think it's going to be a pretty good production. JP's working his butt off with this. I know you have been too, so it's going to be a fun 2022 for both Bronco Nation News and KTIK, the ticket. Bring it. Let's do this.
If the ticket KTIK salespeople don't sell a sponsorship for your shirts, I don't know what better thing that'd be. Perfect video segment. They should start getting a sponsor, and then you can show the shirts on screen and make it we got to get you a shirt sponsor, man. I think that'd be fun. Hey, before we get into our first topic, quick thank you and word to our title sponsor, rowpaint.com. They got a great special going on right now. If you book and finish your indoor concrete coating by the end of the month, you can save 10%. They got more than a dozen different color combinations, even a blue and orange one for Boise State. It's not epoxy. It's way better. They're polyurea floor coatings, 4 times stronger than epoxy, backed by a 15-year warranty. So in other words, it's the last floor coating you will ever need. They've done my garage. They've done my back patio, and they're doing those indoor ones right now, your basement or your garage. Take advantage of it. Rowpaint.com, the official paint and coatings company at Boise State Athletics. It's much more affordable than you might think. So get on there, check it out. Rowpaint.com, power in people, pride in painting. All right, Johnny, our first topic today, Boise State basketball. They're in the hoops pause. They were winning, playing so well, 7 games in a row. New Year's Day, the game gets canceled, an hour before tip-off, less than an hour before tip-off. Where are you at with this basketball team right now? The update, I guess, is they're still practicing, they're still progressing, and they're going to have at least the minimum number of players. Maybe there'll be a couple players out. We don't know yet, but they should be able to travel tomorrow to Reno and play Wednesday against Nevada. Now, Nevada was also in a COVID pause for 5 days. Today is supposed to be their first day back, so teams usually play bad when they have a COVID pause or are a little sluggish. Well, that might help Boise State because both teams are going to be in the same boat here. So we should know this afternoon 100% if this game is going to happen on Wednesday. I'm told that the final testing for Nevada will happen this morning. If they all clear, they'd be able to get on the court and practice, and they'll have 2 days, and we might actually have a big Mountain West showdown Wednesday night in Reno. But that'll be, a week and a half, 10 days off for Boise State as they try to continue the 7-game winning streak in a place in Reno where, bad hosting on my part, I'll have to check it out, but I don't think they've won in Reno in a long time. It seems like the last 4 or 5 times I've gone there, they've lost. So what do you make of where this basketball team is right now?
Yeah, Lawler Event Center, tough place to win. I've called a lot of games down there, and that crowd can get feisty. I don't know, man. And what is this? Kind of the Wild West of the Mountain West right now? We're kind of living in the land of the unknown. I mean, I wanted to see Boise State and Leon in Laramie against Linder and the Cowboys. Didn't get to see that. Now all these positives. Now, can we turn a possible negative into a positive? And I'm sure that's how Leon and his staff are going about this thing, BJ. You just had, like you said, you had 10 days without a game. Can this team get healthier? I'm talking physically. Can this bench extend a little bit? It was getting paper thin with Raja and Max really being the only capable players that can come off that bench. Maybe Leon can get a little bit of a bench extension, heal up some other areas, and I know they haven't been able to practice, but I'm sure they're all over Zoom constantly, and it's going to be an interesting game, no question, in Reno, because I think this basketball team, BJ, needs to bail the football team out this year. Get to the dance. Go dancing in March. Give this fan base, throw them a bone, man. Give them something to chew on here. And I think it's a capable basketball team. I really do. I think this can be a top 3 or 4 Mountain West team. Could this be a year where the Mountain West gets its top 3, maybe even 4 into the tournament? Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. I'm sure net rankings and Ken Palm and all that stuff will come into the situation as it should. But I'm just kind of in the land of the unknown here. I don't know how it's going to look. I don't know if they're going to come out looking sharp compared to Nevada. I don't know if they're going to come out looking rusty. Is the whole league going to look rusty? I mean, you saw what happened with Colorado State and San Diego State over the weekend. A lot of people, I don't think, expected that result. So first and foremost, though, let's just get some basketball back, right? Bronco Nation, give them something to cheer for on a football or men's basketball front. Hopefully that happens Wednesday night in Reno.
And wouldn't it be fun? We actually have a question here, and this is what we want to talk about. Keys to the game, an actual game happening, keys to a game, like you said. I know, Johnny, you've been spending all weekend breaking down Nevada Wolfpack film for this segment today. Obviously Boise State's defense, especially when you go on the road in conference play, Boise State's defense now up to number 17 in the country at KenPom in terms of adjusted defensive efficiency. So it's weird to say, but I mean, Boise State has a top 20 defense in the country, Johnny. They're holding 6 or 7 teams in a row, I think, below 70 points. They've just been, they haven't been lighting it up offensively, but they haven't needed to so far. So for me to go on the road in Reno and get a win, I think it's obvious. You got to play solid defense. You got to make your free throws, and it probably starts there. If you make your free throws, play solid defense, and you got to hit some threes too. But you said you've been to the Lawler Event Center. When that place is loud and packed, it's a really, really tough place to play. Where are you at just in general with this team, and if they're going to continue this winning streak, maybe not just in this game, but big picture, what do they got to do?
I think Nevada first there, like Steve Alford, like any Alford club, his teams are always based around the guards. He's really good at coaching guards. From Lonzo Ball at UCLA to the 2 kids he had last year and now this year in Reno, they pressure with their guards. They're dependent on scoring with their guards, some one-on-one play with their guards. And I'll tell you, Boise State, I think, has a pretty good kryptonite for Nevada's guards. They haven't been lit up by guard play this season. Boise State's tough to score on, and the guard play, a lot of it's contingent, like college basketball is right now, on the 3-point line, And Boise State, it's crazy. Like Leon and Burns, I know Mike Burns gets a lot of credit. They've kind of changed the dimensions of the floor this year. Like when you play Boise State, statistically speaking, you don't get the same 3-point line that all 358 other teams get. They take that away. They move that back. And for Nevada, that's going to be a difficult situation, I think, because their guards are going to want to shoot threes like any team in the league. They want to shoot threes. Boise State takes that away. Can Nevada go to kind of an inside-out game? That's what Jeff Linder does at Wyoming. That's why I really wanted to see Boise State, Wyoming play, and we didn't get it because Linder's more inside out with this team. And I think Linder could have got that 3-point line a little closer, so to speak. But we'll see with Nevada. I think that's going to be a crucial factor again on kind of the keys to the game. At Boise State, are they going to keep this thing going where they say, you're not going to hit threes on us, dude? Not only are you not going to hit threes on us, but we're going to make you take way less threes than you want to take. I'm pumping this game up pretty good, aren't I, BJ?
Yeah, and I'm slated to travel to Reno Wednesday morning, so looking forward to being there. We are going to talk Boise State football, the coaching updates, some Dallas Cowboys, Broncos stuff, some other topics in a minute. But final thing on the basketball team, Johnny, you mentioned kind of picking up the football team, getting back to March. You know, you hear the callers on your show. I get the emails. We all know that this fan base is, I would say getting a little restless, or a portion of the fan base getting a little restless with this team's, lack of success in March, so to speak. And, they've made the NIT almost every year, but I think this fan base wants bigger. They want the big dance. They want to be in that field of 68, and more importantly, really that field of 64. Haven't been to the tournament since 2015. I know this COVID pause kind of puts a little bit of a, pause, or at least a step back for a second on kind of the big picture of the season, but 10-4, 7 in a row, top 50 at Ken Pom. I mean, is this a team you think that has a realistic chance to go dancing?
Yeah. I just think they got to finish in the top 3 of the Mountain West, and I think I'd feel pretty good about their situation if they finish the season in the top 3 of the Mountain West. Maybe don't embarrass yourself in the conference tournament, and that would be being the 3 seed and losing to the 6 seed. I think that happened with Chandler Hutchison's senior year. BJ, you were covering that team. Don't let that happen again. And I think you're probably going to be okay. Now, the NIT is just not good enough in this town. The Arizona Bowl is not good enough in this town. And the NIT is kind of the basketball version of going to the Arizona Bowl. This fan base doesn't want that. This fan base has always kind of had kind of that inferiority complex, like, hey, we're a lot bigger than we are, and stop saying, stop dismissing us all the time. And you just don't have much room. You don't have a lot to stand on, BJ, if you're going to the NIT every year in college basketball. Every now and again, you got to get to the dance. And if you're going to surround one trip to the dance by a couple NIT appearances, you know what? You're probably safe, but I think this is a team. A lot of veterans on this team, too. And I look at the rest of the league, and I don't think there's, other than San Diego State, maybe a far and away favorite. I think Boise State's right in the mix, but we got to play some games, dude. When are we going to play? When are they going to play?
Hopefully Wednesday in Reno, man. Hopefully Wednesday in Reno. And the only problem is those 4 non-conference losses didn't leave them a ton of room. I don't know if you're an at-large consideration from the Mountain West with much more than 8 losses. So you really have to go kind of 14-4 in conference maybe to really have a shot. And that's certainly going to be tough with this schedule. But hopefully they can get back to action Wednesday night in Reno. We'll keep you updated. You guys will have full coverage of that on Idaho Sports Talk 3 to 6. If there's any announcements, I think Coach Rice is going to be maybe doing an interview today. We'll see a press conference. But we'll keep you updated on the basketball team. Hey, before we switch topics, talk football, I want to give a quick shout out. Boise Dentistry Co., Dr. Chris Minert. My family has made the switch. Those are my kids there on the screen in the picture with Dr. Minert. I have gone and seen Dr. Minert as well, and you should do it as well. Native of the Treasure Valley, grew up in Eagle, went to Eagle High School, graduated from Boise State, opened up his own practice down in Texas, has returned to Boise and opened up Boise Dentistry Co., bringing with him his whole health approach to first-class preventative dental care. Dr. Minert loves helping patients feel confident, happy, and positive about their smiles. His caring and compassionate personality shines through every aspect of his practice. His main goal to provide innovative and comprehensive dental care for all of his patients so they can maintain a high level of wellness throughout their daily life. So give Dr. Minert a call there. Locations Boise, Caldwell, Mountain Home. They're opening up a 4th location as well. And my family now uses Dr. Minert, and you should too. Now we switch to football talk. 3 coaches have left the Boise State football program, Johnny, this offseason. I know that was the talk kind of late in the season. Who's gone? What's going to happen to the coaching change? And I didn't think much was going to happen, but I mean, it's just kind of the way in college football. Somebody always goes. Somebody you don't expect always goes. And you had a couple of unique, interesting things the last few weeks. You have Winston Venable, leaving to, quote, pursue other opportunities. I love Winston. I think he's a great guy, great Bronco legend, Johnny, but let's call it like we see it. It sounds like this was we have a chance to upgrade with Keith Boniface, and we're going to do it. So you take Winston Venable out of the picture, you bring in Keith Boniface. I think from a pure running backs coach standpoint, that is a major upgrade for Boise State. You had Stacy Collins make the surprising move. There was no talk or rumors about that. He goes to Penn State. So you lose your edge coach, your special teams coordinator to the Big Ten and Penn State. I don't think you can fault Stacy Collins for that. You got a chance to raise your salary, go to the Big Ten, you take it there for Stacy Collins. And then the other one, most recently, which I think made the biggest noise and locally, was Jerron Johnson stepping down to focus on his family and some other things. He's got a kid in California, a kid in Seattle, one to spend some time with them. But Jerron Johnson had just come to the coaching staff. By all reports, was liked by the players, had done a good job, and now he is gone. So they still do have one opening on the coaching staff. You had Papinga hired to coach the special teams in the edge position. I mentioned Boniface, so they're still looking for that cornerbacks coach. But what's your take on the three coaches leaving and kind of what it looks like? And I would assume for you, being a Seattle guy, being a Seahawks guy, you've always had a fondness for Jerron Johnson. I would assume you're disappointed to see him leave the program.
Yeah, I think everybody in this town is going to be happy that Jerron no longer has to answer my stupid LOB questions, because I had a lot of those for Jerron over the years, and I thought he was doing a good job. I thought Jerron did an excellent job with the corners on this team. Look at the injury carousel at cornerback this year. How many different corners ended up playing sufficient time? And that was Jerron coaching them. And, the NFL experience, I think it's a major tool in a coach's tool belt when he can look at a kid and say, I know you want to go to the NFL. I've been to the NFL. Here's my Super Bowl ring. Here's what it takes. And not only have I been to the NFL, but I went to the NFL from here, from this school, playing on the blue. And as far as I know, this staff, I know they don't have any ex-Boise State football players who had a decent career in the NFL like Jerron did. I don't know if they have any NFL experience on this coaching staff. And okay, it's one of those things that's it's not a killer. I get it. They're going to be fine. I like this staff. But I also love the fact that you had a Super Bowl ring on the staff from an alum. And, Jerron Johnson said at times he would pull Richard Sherman into the Zoom meeting, and Sherm would give them 10 minutes, and the corners could ask Richard Sherman anything they wanted in those 10 minutes about football, about business, life, playing, the grind and whatnot. And what a valuable resource that was for that cornerback room, and for Jerron to have those type of connections and to use them. I ate that up. I love that. So I'm going to miss Jerron Johnson. I think this team will miss Jerron Johnson. I don't know if it's, like you're saying, a Winston Venable deal, like they wanted to, part ways with him, but do it very amicably, do it very respectfully. Because like you did say, Winston Venable was a really good player here. He was an all-conference kid, spent, 5-6 years playing in Canada, had a cup of coffee with the Chicago Bears. I mean, was a really good player and a good dude, too. So, if that's how they wanted to go about essentially firing Winston to bring on Keith Boniface, who look at his track record, right? And we'll get there, sure. But I like some of the moves, but we'll miss Jerron for several reasons, I think. And coaching isn't for everybody, I guess, huh?
And I know Mike Prater on Idaho Sports Talk last week was talking about bringing in the X's and O's guys and loving Jerron and loving Winston, but just the inexperience they had in coaching and maybe not being those guys that can just sit in the film room for 10 hours and scheme something up. They're more guys that are motivators and players guys and have that experience. Particularly with Winston, it was an odd hire from the start, a guy that played defense, and then had never coached. Never had coached before coming to Boise State as the running backs coach. Now, the running backs did struggle in both of his years as running backs coach, but let's be fair, a lot of that was due to injuries to George Helani, injuries to the offensive line. But I don't think, there's any doubt you bring in a guy like Keith Boniface, who's been a running backs coach for more than a decade, you're going to get an upgrade there. You bring in Papinga, who was at BYU for a long time, was at Virginia, and then comes back. You look at his experience level. I mean, there's still one opening to go. I know a lot of fans were jokingly saying, when are we going to find out that Tim Plow left? I mean, that's not happening. But overall, how do you look at the coaching staff and who's in and who's out this year moving forward?
Well, last year, and I remember being at practice early on, and what stood out to me was just the energy and the enthusiasm of Andy Avalos' first staff. I mean, those guys, those coaches were fired up, and I thought it helped the players, and I thought it was a good direction to go in. But like Prater was saying and whatnot, like to have hardcore, old school X's and O's football coaches. Guys who've been on sidelines wearing headsets for a decade. KB Bonaba, I mean, not only is he a great running backs coach, but he's been acclaimed as one of the top recruiters on the West Coast. So, I mean, that's two birds with one stone on the KB hire, I think. So, Kent Riddle last year, he was the grizzled vet, right? Rid was kind of the old wise guy, and now you got a couple more guys. But, like you said with Papinga, Bronco Mendenhall's had a good career. BYU, and then he went and made Virginia uncompetitive to competitive, and he's been around the block. So this is Andy Avalos learning and thinking, okay, this is like the Noah's Ark, man. I need a little bit of everything on this thing. I can't just have the one young, energetic, enthusiastic approach. I got to get a lot of guys, and a lot of those need to be X's and O's guys, and certainly, as you know, recruiting is pretty much everything. You have to find coaches who are willing to go that extra mile with recruiting, and most of them are. That's their job. But recruiting takes, I've heard from coaches say, being a master recruiter takes like a different type of coaching animal, and every program in the country needs that. Everyone.
Well, we'll see what they do with that last spot on the coaching staff. They've still got to fill the cornerback spot, and you wonder if it's somebody with ties to Boise State. I think you had mentioned, or Prater mentioned last week, only two guys now, Matt Miller and Andy Avalos, that actually played at Boise State on the coaching staff. I'd have to go back and look, Johnny, but I would suspect that's one of the lower numbers they've had in a long time in terms of former Broncos on the coaching staff. So we'll see what happens with that spot. Hey, before we talk about the NFL and the Dallas Cowboys, quick word for my friends at Transportation Compliance Service. Johnny, I know you've always thought about getting into the trucking industry, either as an individual. If you want to start your own trucking company, you can go no further than TCS. 1,000 people a day are deciding to become truck drivers, get into the trucking industry, and TCS is taking care of many of them. They can help you every step of the way, from getting your LLC, your tax ID, your DOT number, overweight permits, you name it. They can do it. There's close to 20 steps and things that need to be done to get out on the road, and many of those that try to do it themselves end up going out of business. If you work with TCS, you can get better insurance rates, have a better chance at passing safety audits. TCS can help navigate potential pitfalls and keep you out on the road. 50 to 70 new accounts a day are getting signed up by TCS. Folks all over the country. It's a Meridian-based company here, but they can help anybody in the country get started and towing that first load in no time. If you're thinking about getting into the trucking industry, check out Transportation Compliance Service at transcompservice.com, or you can give them a call as well, 866-813-7620. Johnny, I know you love clickbait articles and top 25 lists and all that kind of stuff. Brett McMurphy, the Action Network, came out. We only have a minute or two to talk about this, but Boise State not in the top 50 in Brett McMurphy's early 2022 list. There's only 128 FBS teams. Brett McMurphy doesn't see Boise State even being in the top 50 next year. Does that concern you, or is Brett off, or where are you at with that?
I think, look, this is kind of a prove-it year for Boise State. 2022 will be. They're so far removed from the Chris Peterson era now. Like, really, I mean, it's almost a decade now since Chris Peterson has coached this team on the blue. And the Brian Harsin era was good, but it wasn't a Chris Peterson era. It probably wasn't. I mean, you could argue, winning percentage wasn't Dan Hawkins. But, Harsin did a fine job. But now you're removed a couple years from the Harsin era. And you have Andy Avalos. 7-5 is what it is. They had some really nice wins. Give them credit. But they also had some very unfortunate losses that this program just hasn't had in, 20 years. And so I think for McMurphy, it's a prove-it year. Boise State, you can get back in the top 50, easy peasy, if you're going to have your standard run-of-the-mill Boise State season, which is what? 9-3, 10-2 in the regular season? That's where the bar is. And remember this, BJ, when you raise the bar, okay, the ceiling comes up with it too. The higher your bar is, the higher your ceiling is. You don't get a lot of 7-5, 6-6 leeway when you're a program that's supposed to win 10 games per year. I also look at this like for Boise State fans. I'm sure most of them probably don't care about the McMurphy top 50 on January 10th. Okay, get off it. Right? There's a lot of time. Well, stuff's gonna happen here, so I don't think this is gonna be one of those things fans are gonna say, "Uh-oh, we're done. We're wiped out. We got no chance this year because McMurphy has us at 52." The one thing I will say though, our buddy Jay Tust, I saw a tweet from Tust the other day, and he said, hey, maybe this gives Boise State an opportunity to kind of play that underdog role again. And I think, sure, it does. But I don't know if that's a good thing or not. This program has been Goliath of the group of five, right? When you think of G5 football, typically the first team that pops in is Boise State. That's not the case anymore. They're not Goliath of the group of five before. So does this fan base, do you want to be the little underdog that could have this program was built? Or do you want to be the Goliath of the group of five? Right now, I think this program is somewhere in the middle, which is going to add to a lot of interesting topics on both Bronco Nation News and Idaho Sports Talk for the next, I don't know what, 8 months until they start fall camp. So, no. Yeah, that's my thoughts on the McMurphy top 50. He does a terrific job, though, and fans, I'm sure, click all over that and want to see where their team is on January. We still got a game tonight. We're still in the 2021 season, man.
Yep.
And I got Bama by 1 million.
There you go. The 5 losses, by the way, the 5 regular season losses for Boise State, first time since 1998. So you are going back 2+ decades for at least 5 regular season losses. Boise State football did add a transfer quarterback from Oregon State, Sam Vidlak. He's coming over from Oregon State. He appeared in 1 game as a freshman there last year, played 12 snaps. So you bring a Pac-12 transfer over, likely just going to be backup for Hank Bachmeier. Maybe he'll battle with Taylon Green for the backup spot. We will maybe discuss that next week, Johnny. We only got about 3 minutes left before we got to get off of here. I want to touch quickly. Thank you to Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com. 13 Idaho locations. You can see them on the screen there. I use the Cuno location frequently, so thanks to Mark Ridley. Ridley's Family Markets, they're big supporters of Boise State Athletics. They got the shop, at-home shopping, the Skip app, home delivery, all kinds of great stuff. So think local, think Ridley's Family Markets. A big week for the Dallas Cowboys here as we wrap this things up, Johnny. There are a number of Boise State players that will have a chance to win a title, an NFL Super Bowl championship. The list was all about 10 long or so. We'll quickly look at the list. You've obviously got the Dallas Cowboys players, DeMarcus Lawrence, Darian Thompson, Leighton Vander Esch, Cedric Wilson, Dante Dion with the Rams, John Molchon with the Buccaneers, Marcus Henry and Tanner Vallejo with the Cardinals, and then not sure what's going on with Jeremy McNichols and the Titans. I believe he got waived, but he might get re-signed. We'll see what happens there. So a lot of Boise State flavor in these playoffs, but here in town, Johnny, no bigger story, in terms of the alumni than the Dallas Cowboys, and what a weekend they had. Cedric Wilson, 5 catches, 119 yards, 2 touchdowns. Leighton Vander Esch, 6 tackles, the interception. DeMarcus Lawrence had a sack and 4 tackles. And, Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator, puts up 51 points, and the Cowboys finish with the best point total and yard total, the best offense in the NFL. So final thing here, just your thoughts on the Cowboys moving forward, the alumni, what they did there, and Kellen Moore. We see Black Monday, all these coaches that are getting let go today. Is this finally the offseason? Kellen Moore gets that head coaching gig?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and I've been accused of being a Kellen apologist a lot. I mean, he finished the season with the Cowboys number 1 in the league in yardage and number 1 in the league in scoring. My partner, Mike Prater, told me last year when they finished the league number 1 in yardage, the yardage doesn't count. It's about scoring. Don't give me yardage numbers, ball game. Okay, well, they finished the league in scoring number 1, 2 this year. I mean, it's the best offense in football. Not only that, but on paper, it's the best offense in the history of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, okay, is it better than the triplets? Is it better than Tony Dorsett, Roger Staubach, Drew Pearson era? Probably not. But, hey, on paper, number 1 and number 1. So I think Kellen Moore, I know he interviewed with the Jaguars on Friday. I don't know how that went. I'm sure there's going to be his phone will be ringing. The Miami Dolphins is a job I think Kellen might have some interest in as well. Like, who wouldn't? I mean, that seems like that's an outfit that's ready to go. A lot more so than, say, a Jacksonville, where he where he already interviewed. But yeah, this town and the Cowboys, it's kind of a cool deal. I mean, how fun would it be for a diehard Boise State fan to see a Cowboy World Championship with the guys you mentioned? Heck, say Tank Lawrence wins Super Bowl MVP if he has like a 4-sack game. I don't think that's out of the realm, right? Cedric Wilson just seems to be getting better, and he seems to get more opportunities every week, especially with the Michael Gallup injury. So Cedric Wilson is a key component of what they do, and what a versatile player he is. Kellen loves having him throw the ball. He's left-handed. You never see that coming. Isn't that funny? Kellen's like, oh, I got a lefty wide receiver over here. I can open up the playbook and we can catch him. Not thinking he's going to throw the ball because he's running to the left, but he's left-handed. Now coaches have to prepare for that, and I'm sure they are. But it would be fun for this fan base to see all those Broncos waving a Super Bowl ring. But certainly Kellen's number one. If the Cowboys win the Super Bowl, I think the only thing that would be preventing Kellen from getting a job is maybe a team not wanting to wait until Valentine's Day to have the introductory presser, because the Super Bowl this year, it's on February 13th. So we'll see how that goes. I know they've made some rules to make it a lot easier to pursue an assistant who's going on a Super Bowl run. And if you heard Kellen's press conference last week, we aired it on Idaho Sports Talk. I mean, it was very Bill Belichickian. It was, hey, we're on to Philly. We're thinking about Philly. And the media just wanted to talk Jaguars, and Kellen was like, well, we're really just preparing for Philadelphia. Kellen is staying in the moment. He knows what he's doing. He's got the best offense in the league, and he's getting ready to host an NFL playoff game against the San Francisco 49ers. And look at that rivalry. You're talking a rivalry that goes back 80 years, the Niners and the Cowboys. So many stories with that, and Kyle Shanahan's going to have that team ready to go as well, and that's going to be a fun playoff game to watch this week, and I can't wait. You know me, I'm an NFL guy. That wild card weekend, now we got a Monday night playoff game. I'm not sure I like that, but you get 2 games Saturday, 3 games Sunday, and then the one Monday. Dude, is it Friday yet?
Well, we already went over our 30-minute limit here. The first show, we're already breaking rules, Johnny. I forgot how much you like to talk. So we'll end it with this. You said Idaho Sports Talk coming up. I'm sure you'll have Kellen Moore talk, Cowboys talk, Boise State talk, 3 to 6. What do we got coming up today? 95.3 FM, 1350 AM with you and Mike Prater.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff. Obviously, wrapping up what happened with the weekend, looking forward. It's National Championship Monday, man. Alabama and Georgia. Whether you like it or not, these are the best 2 teams college football has to offer this season. So if you're not going to watch it because you're fatigued by these teams, that's fine. That's on you. There's a lot of other cool stuff to watch, I'm sure. But if you want to watch a matchup between the best 2 teams, even though it's a rematch, college football has that for you tonight. So we'll be talking a lot about the CFP National Championship. If Saban wins this, BJ, 8. That's 8 titles, 7 at Bama, 1 at LSU. Holy shnikes, dude.
Well, that'll be available on the live stream, KTIK.com. You can listen through the app as well. Lots of ways to hear that. Again, 95.3 FM, 1350 AM. That'll be Johnny Prater and JP coming up 3 to 6 this afternoon. So, Johnny, appreciate your time today for episode 1. This was a lot of fun, and folks can get the show here on any of our channels for our 2 outlets. It's going to be archived. We'll download the audio and put a podcast version up that some people will be listening to as well. We had some comments I couldn't get to. Mike saying good stuff, boys. So appreciate it, Johnny. This was fun, and we'll do it again next Monday, man. There he is.
Thanks, guys.
Yep, John Mallory, appreciate your time, man. And again, great stuff from him, and we're excited to do this each and every Monday, 9 a.m. It'll be John Mallory and myself. Have a good rest of the day. And again, Idaho Sports Talk 3 to 6. They'll break down Boise State and everything else going on as well. Have a good day, folks. We'll talk to you later. KTIK, The Ticket, BroncoNationNews.com.